Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I will show you how to cut and sew this slim leg trouser. If this is what you would like to learn, make sure not to skip any part of this video. It's going to be a very simple tutorial. To make this, I use 3 yards because I'm making the 2-piece, but for the pants you can use 2 yards, and I use a crepe fabric. So first thing I'm going to do is to mark a border line. This line is going to be the side seam. So I'm going to take all the vertical measurements. So first thing I will take is the length of the pant trouser. So I want the length to be 40 inches, 0.5. So remember, is from the waist to the ankle. Next, I'm going to take the waist to hips, which is 8 inches. And then from waist to the crotch depth, which is 10.75. Then from the waist to the knee line is going to be 23.5, and the final length is 40.5. remember, I'll drop a link on how to take all these measurements in the description section, so make sure to watch that video so that you understand how to take all these measurements. I'll go ahead and square this line out. So this is going to be the waist line. This is going to be the hip line. And this is going to be the crotch line, which is also known as the body rise. Also the knee line, which is 23.5 inches. And then the length of the pant trouser. So this is the waist, the hips, the crotch area, and then the knee line. So I hope you understand. So on this hip line, you're going to divide your hips divided by 4 plus 0.25 for ease, and you add 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'm going to drop that line on the crotch line. So I'll go ahead and square this line out. So this line is going to touch the crotch, the hip line, and the waistline. So you mark all the lines out like this. Next, we are going to mark the crotch extension. So on the crotch line, for me, I'm going to mark 3 inches. This is for large. You can do 2.5 if you're small. If you're large, if you're extra large, you do 3.5. So on the center line, I'm going to come in 0.5, and then I'm going to connect this new line that I marked now. You are going to connect it straight to the hip line. So straight to the hip line like this. And then you're going to mark the crotch curve. So from that hip line now, you're going to mark a curve touching the crotch extension and the hip line. You see how I'm marking this? So that's how you're going to mark your crotch curve. So this is no longer needed. This is here. We're not going to use that anymore. The new line is what we are going to use. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the midpoint. So from this crotch extension to the side seam, you're going to divide whatever you have there by 2, so that you'll be able to balance your pant trousers. So whatever I have, I'm going to extend that down to the hem of the trouser. So from the waistline down to the length of the trouser, you're going to mark that line straight. This line is also going to be your crease line. So the next thing I'm going to mark, from this new line, you're going to mark the waist divided by 4. So round your waist circumference, divide that by 4, whatever you have, mark it here. And then from this, you're going to connect this to the hip line. So you're going to make a curve like this to connect that to the hip line. Use your hip curve and connect it like so. So this has formed your side seam. Next is for us to mark the shape of the slim leg. So on this line, on the knee line, you're going to take around your knee line measurements. Make sure you bend your legs when you're taking the measurements. Round whatever you have, divide it by 4, and you're going to share it on this center line. Share it both ways. Whatever you've gotten, divide it by 4, share it the both side of the grain line that we have marked. So that is what I'm marking here. Also on the hem line, you're going to take your ankle line, your leg entering. You know how to take the leg entering. Take your leg entering, and whatever you have, divide it by 4 and share it on both sides of the grain line. With this, we have the slim leg design formed. So we are going to connect this straight to the knee line, from the hem line straight to the knee line. You also connect the other side straight. You're going to connect it straight like this. And also for the side seam, watch the way I'm going to connect this side seam. Just go ahead and connect it like this to the hip line, to the crotch line. Also inside the inside leg, you're going to use your hip curve to connect it like so. So just make sure you see the way I'm connecting the thigh area. You go ahead and connect it like that, so that it's not too fitted on the leg. So this is the front. We'll go over to the back. Next, we are going to go over to the back. The front panel is ready. So first, we are going to do exactly the same thing we did for the front. So you're going to take all the vertical measurements, the waistline, the hip line, the crotch line, the knee line, and the hem line. Take all those lines just like we did for the front. If you have watched this video till this time and you have not given this video a thumbs up, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys for always coming back to watch my video. Subscribe and turn on all notification bell icons. I appreciate a whole lot. If this is your first time coming across my channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on all notification bell icon and become part of the family. I hope you guys like this video, so you're going to turn part of the family. Here I share very simple tutorials and make it simple for anybody to understand. So make sure to join this family and become part of Lomzy team. Let's get back to the cutting table. So now all the lines have been drawn out. So this is the waistline, the hip line, the crotch line, and the knee line. So on this hip line, you're going to divide hips divided by 4 plus 0.25 for ease, and you're going to mark it. You go ahead and extend this line up and down. So both on the crotch line, the hip line, and the waistline, you're going to mark the same measurements. Then you go ahead and square them out. Next, you're going to make the crotch extension for the back. So whatever you have for the crotch extension for the front, you're going to take that measurement, whatever you have from here to here, you're going to times that by 2. So you're going to mark whatever you have gotten from there here. That will be for the back crotch extension. And then you're going to drop it low by 0.25. That's lower than the crotch extension. So now from this center line, this line here, you're going to divide that place by 2. Whatever you have, mark it. This will be the guideline to draw the crotch curve. On that line, you're going to come in 1.5. So come in here 1.5 and mark it. And then you're going to extend it 2 inches. If you're on the plus size, you can do 2.5 inches. and then you're going to connect this straight to this line and then connect this with a curve. So you're going to come out from here 4.75 cm, not inch, cm, and then connect this straight, and then from the hip line to the crotch extension, you're going to mark that with a curve like this. So I'm going to use my curve ruler like this. Make sure to touch the crotch extension, the 4.25, and then to the guideline there. So watch the way I did it. Yes. So the next thing, I'm going to mark the waist circumference. So from that new line, you're going to mark the waist divided by 4, and you're going to drop it down on the waistline. So see what I'm doing. Whatever you get, waist divided by 4, and mark that on this line. Make sure it touches that waistline like so. You're going to connect here with a curve ruler like so. So you're connecting the hip curve down to, from the waistline down to the hip area like this. You curve it out the way you see me doing. Also, we are going to mark the leg, just the same thing we did for the front. You're going to divide the crotch extension to the side seam. You're going to divide that by 2. Whatever you have, this is going to be our grain line. You're going to square that down to the hemline. So next, I am going to do the same thing I did for the front. Divide your knee line divided by 4, mark it on both sides. You're also going to do the same thing on the ankle. Divide that by 4 and mark it on both lines. Then you're going to connect this straight, just the same thing you did for the front. Connect this straight from the hemline to the knee line. The same thing on the other side. And then you're going to mark the side seam and the crotch curve, the inside leg for the crotch curve. Go ahead and use your curve ruler to connect it like this, so that you have the right curve for. So go ahead and connect it like so. Also for the side seam. So this is it after connecting everything. You can see the shape, how it is. The slim leg is coming out nicely. I'll go ahead and cut this out and use it to cut it out on my pattern, on my fabric, my main fabric. So if you have watched this video till this time, remember to give it a thumbs up, big thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't. Remember, I've added all the sewing allowance when I was cutting this, so I'm just going to cut this out and cut it out straight on my fabric. So as you can see, this is it. I'm not adding any sewing allowance because I've added sewing allowance when I was cutting this out. So for us to sew this is going to be very, very simple because we're not adding any pockets, no side pockets, no front zipper. It's just a very simple trouser. So first I'm going to sew the center front, and for the back I'm going to sew it from here, and then the upper side I'm going to add the zip. This is the back side. So after joining the zip and everything, this is how it's looking. Next, I'm going to place the back. Can you see I've added the zipper to it? I'm going to place the two side seams like this. To make a trouser is very simple. Just do it this way. Sew the two side seam. And after sewing the two side seam, you open it up and then sew the crotch area. Just align it properly and go ahead and sew out the 1/2 inch. And then after sewing it, this is how it's looking. I've already hemmed the lower part, as you can see. Next thing I'm going to do now is just to add the band. I told you no side pockets, no front zip, only back zip. So I'm going to add this zipper, the band to it, and then we are done with the tutorial. I'll see you guys in my next video.